Hi guys, you're welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Yvonne Princess Shabango. If you are new here, you're welcome to like, subscribe, share, and comment. And voila, you're part of the graceful, the beautiful, and the wonderful family. We are back again with another video of booked. So basically, we're reviewing books that we've read. I'm reviewing books I've read and sharing my experiences or what I learned and etc. Right, guys? I'm literally doing a video for this book, literally for the third time, because the first time I did it, and then for some odd reason my lighting was work, it changed throughout the video, then I deleted it. Secondly, I shot the video, but then I lost my phone, so the video was in my phone, so I couldn't put it up. So this is the third time. I really hope I get the opportunity to put it out there, and then you guys get to buy the book, and first I would like to send a special shout out to my sister-in-law. She got me this book, it took me a while to actually pick it up, because I picked it up the first time and then I stopped because I was reading it with another book. Then I figured out, no, this is too powerful, I cannot read it with another book. So then and also I'd like to acknowledge Brene Brown. Guys, I didn't know Brene Brown. Actually, I'm shocked I didn't know her, because I really love the type of person she is. She's the type of people I gravitate towards. So if you don't know Brene Brown, guys, check her out on YouTube. She's absolutely amazing. She teaches a lot on vulnerability. She teaches a lot on finding yourself, connecting with other people. She teaches a lot on being a better human being, basically. But I love the art of vulnerability that she talks about a lot in her talks and her TED Talks and her books and all of that. It's the first book I've read. I'm looking forward to get a new one, because I saw Boom is reading a new one. I'm like, this seems interesting, so I'm gonna get myself another copy. But today we are here about braving the wilderness. What does the wilderness mean to you? Maybe tell me in the comment section, what does wilderness mean? According to this book, basically wilderness has to do a lot with facing big things, and those big things sometimes they require you to be on your own, or not even being on your own in a literal sense, but they require you to have a perspective or a narrative on your own. So basically there's certain journeys that God is going to put you on, or that you're going to go on, and some of those journeys will just require you to just be by yourself, or just to go through by yourself, and sometimes also those journeys, they require you to actually have a different opinion from everybody else, right? So I'm going to share what I've learned, chapter by chapter. This is a power pack book. I think it's under 500 rand. I'm not sure. Like I said, my sister-in-law got it for me, but I believe that it's under 500 rand. So if you want a copy, you can get it on Take-A-Lot. We got our copies from Take-A-Lot. You can get it from Take-A-Lot, and I think you can check out other bookstores. So man, guys, and you guys know that when I read books, this is what I do, so that I remember some of the things that actually touched my spirit, right? So first things first, one of the biggest things that I learned is that it's okay to be vulnerable. Vulnerability strengthens relationship. The moment you feel like you can't be vulnerable with a person, I think it's important that you question the relationship you have, because half the time we are afraid to be vulnerable because we think we're protecting ourselves. But actually not being vulnerable prevents you from genuine and true connection, right? Usually when we're vulnerable with people, we often think our problems are unique to us, right? We think going through stuff is unique to us, but you don't know until you actually pour your heart to somebody else and they actually say, I've been through that. I know what that means. I understand. I've walked this walk, and you're gonna win, So it's important that you're vulnerable. And I'm not saying you should be vulnerable with everyone, but it's important that you establish a circle that you can be vulnerable with, and be vulnerable. It helps, guys. So one of the things that I learned is that if anything, about teaching, right? This is in chapter 1, right, where she says you're everywhere but nowhere. One thing that I learned is that teaching is very important, right? It's one of the most sacred things in the world, teaching, because you get to make somebody open their eyes. You get to unlock a part of somebody that they didn't know about, right? And then another important thing that I learned, guys, one thing about me, I don't like not knowing, and I used to think it's a problem, right? Actually, one of my weaknesses is I don't like not knowing. Then it usually impacts how I learn things, right? And then with this book, I learned that it's okay not knowing, and I learned that it's okay to be uncomfortable while still learning, because I mean you're learning something new, so it's not gonna be all roses. It's gonna have bumps until you get it right, you know. So I'm one of those people that you know what, sometimes I judge myself harshly when I don't know something and I become so uncomfortable. But I learned that it's okay to be uncomfortable because it's something new. You've never done it, you know, you don't know about it. So you are going to be uncomfortable, right? And then also I learned one of the, okay, I don't know, I would say it's the coolest things ever, because it's one of the things that I'm implementing now. If you want to learn something, or if you want to become a certain person, let's say, like for instance, one of my biggest social media mentors, you know, not even just social media but overall life mentors, is Mpumi Ledwaba, right? So what I do is I've watched every single thing that she's put out there, like all her videos. There is no video that Mpumi has done that I've never watched, right? I've been in all her challenges because I aspire to be something like her or more, you know, or something like her but in my own way. I don't know if you guys get it, right? So I've watched all of her things. If it was entirely up to me, I'd attend all her events, be at all her talks and all of that, because I guess it helps me. And one of the things that Brene Brown says is, if you really want to be great and you've identified one of the greatest people that you want to be like, follow almost every step that they do. Follow their routine. If they wake up at 4 a.m., try it out and see what they do at 4 a.m. If they pray 7 times, try it out. But obviously, as you do all of those things, you actually find what works for you along the way. But if you want to be great, try and implement some of the things that they say they've done, you know, and trust me, they work. I know, like I said, I'm a heavyweight. I don't even want to say fan, because when I look at Mpumi, I look at like a life coach, you know. She might not sit down with me and say, hey, I'm life coaching you right now, or whatever the case may be, but the things that she teaches, the things that she puts out there, they actually coach me and make me a better person, right? So with that being said, I've implemented most of the things. Like for instance, I Run November was one of the biggest parts that contributed to my weight loss, because I walked like the entire month, but I finished my 100 kilometers, and it was very encouraging, and I even won and all of these things. So, you know, personally, I'm living proof that if you want to be great and you've identified a great person that you want to be like, and you follow what they say they do, trust me, you're going to see the small little changes, and you're going to tweak it around as time goes on, right? And then and then she says also, there's another thing that I learned is that it's important that you understand that just because you're good at something, it doesn't mean that you'll be always the chosen one. Just because you're a great singer, it doesn't mean that you're going to be the chosen one. We've seen this like in idols. Many people, like in the top 10, you would wish that everyone can actually win, you know, but you know, because life happens, you know, and sometimes you're not the perfect fit for the time, or it's not your season, then one person is chosen. So I just want to remind you that from this book, I learned that it's okay not to be chosen. And sometimes, yes, you can beat yourself up for it. But if you know that you've put in the best that you can and you're still not chosen, just take it as a, you know what, maybe there's greater things coming for me, or there's better things coming for me. You know, there's one occasion in her life where Brene Brown wanted to be part of a squad, right? She was a great dancer. She had the perfect weight and all of that, the cheerleading squad. And then she auditioned for that, and she wasn't chosen. She was hurt. It hurt her so much. But after so many years, she heard through the grapevine, Hori, actually, you were a great dancer. You were just not chosen because you're not colorful enough. You were not chosen because you didn't fit the cool girl, you know. So you see, there are many factors why we're not picked. And half the time we disqualify ourselves because we think we're not good enough. But actually, most of the time, you are good enough. You're just maybe not good fit for that particular company or particular person, whatever the case may be. But walk around knowing that you are the best thing God ever created, okay? And then, yeah, man, like there's a lot that I learned, you know, yeah, there's a lot that I learned, right? And then one of the things that I learned, and I'm trying to implement this with my nieces and nephews and all of that, right? That, and my siblings as well, because my siblings are like 6. She says sometimes the most dangerous thing for kids is the silence that allows them to construct their own stories that almost always cast them as alone and unworthy of love and belonging. Here's the thing, guys, we really need, also she encourages a lot of communication. We really need to communicate a lot, whether we're communicating with our siblings, our friends, and all of that. Because when you are not communicating, right, she spoke from a perspective of a child, right? But I'm speaking in general. When somebody is not communicating something, it's easy for you to construe things. It's easy for you to make assumptions. I know for a fact that when somebody is so quiet, it's easy for me to be like, oh, they're not talking to me because of this, or they don't want me as part of their life because of this. But when somebody communicates with me and say, hey, listen, this is what's going on, I'm going through stuff and all of that, I can't call you as much as I can, or I can't do this, then it leaves me in a position whereby I'm not making up things, right? So basically, also she teaches how it's important that we stay connected with one another, we stay communicating with one another, and it's important to engage children, it's important to engage kids. If you've got kids, you've got nephews and nieces, ask them how they are, ask them how school is, ask them what they think about certain things. Like I know for a fact, like my niece will tell you, I ask her, what do you think? Why did you do what you did? Why did you say what you said? Like I try and make her communicate her thoughts so that if she's thinking the wrong thing, I'm able to actually correct her. Or if she's thinking the correct things, I'm actually able to say, kudos, this is how a person should think. Or it's great that you're a thoughtful person. Or it's great that you're kind. So that I'm able to affirm them or validate them. So I think it's very important to have sessions where you talk to your siblings, even my we talk to kids, you know, kids around you, whether it's your siblings, your children, and all of that. Like even my siblings know, like I do video calls with them because they don't stay in South Africa, stay in different countries, but like I do video calls with them, I affirm them when they're doing great, I tell them, ask them how's school, who are your friends, do you like this? They recently started doing sports. I asked my little sister, do you like ballet? Or are you just doing it because mommy said so? And she said, I love ballet. I'm actually always excited to go there because I get to make new friends. And I love, you know, she was showing me different moves and all of that. And then I asked my brother, I'm like, okay, since your sister is doing ballet, what are you getting up to? What do you want to do? And then she told me she likes soccer, she likes ball, you know. And then she told me how, what's the name of that sport? She even told me about a new sport. She said, I don't know if it's Gaiken or something like that. And then I was like, what is that? I've never heard of that sport. And then she's like, no, this is how you throw a ball, how you do it. And then, you know, it actually teaches you to get to know kids around you. It teaches you to get to know your children. And because we live in a generation whereby people are exposed to many things that can make them or break them. So it's important to always assess how your kids think, or assess how people around you think. You know, there's a meme or a quote that I posted the other day that says, have you ever been so upset at like how a person thinks that you look at them, you're like, really? This is how you think? And that's the thing, you will never know how people think unless you have conversation with them, unless you communicate with them, you know. And then, yeah, guys, so engage your kids. It's important to ask them, how's their day? What do they think about certain things? You know, yeah. And then there's also, she touches a lot on trauma, right? And then she says, when it worked, I considered myself a hero. When it didn't, I would blame myself and double down on the data finding it. It's only just dawning on me as I write this. This is actually when I started choosing research and data over vulnerability, right? So here also, just to give you a backstory, right? She's talking about how different traumas make you react differently, right? Sometimes trauma makes you become an overcompensator or an overachiever. Sometimes, and then the latter would be trauma makes you become so destructive, right? And it's so sad. I think it's a 50-50 or 49-50, because most of us, I know half the time the things that I've achieved, it's because of trauma. It's because it's like, I never want to be like so and so. I grew up seeing so and so do this, so I have to make sure that I make it through. Or it's a thing of, I want to be seen as a certain person in society. or it's a thing of I can't afford to embarrass my parents, or there's always these things. And then some people, because of trauma, they are so destructive, right? In that they do all the destructive things knowing that they're actually going to get attention. When somebody does something wrong, everyone is like, oh my god, this one, why are they acting like that? It catches attention. The whole family is there holding family meetings and doing this or that. So that's the thing about trauma. And it's unfortunate that sometimes you can't control what trauma does to you. So it can either make you better or it can make you the worst, right? And then also she teaches how vulnerability can regulate that. So if you're able to be vulnerable, you're able to actually fully communicate how you feel about certain things with certain people, then it sort of lifts off the weight from you, right? So yeah. And then also it talks about how she also teaches on the importance of being seen, what being seen can do to us. I also have noticed the thing about being seen. I'm very privileged and very, now I call it a privilege because I know a lot of people struggle and yearn for this. I'm privileged to be around people that see me, especially my parents. Like, guys, sometimes I think my parents boast my ego too much. I'm blessed with lovely parents that see me. When I'm doing great, they will affirm me. When I'm fumbling, they will try and help me in every best possible way they can. I've got friends that see me. When I'm doing great, they tell me. When I'm doing the worst, they call me out. I've got siblings and cousins and all of that see me. And I've realized what being seen, especially from home or from a very close circle, can do for you as a person. It actually enhances your performance. It enhances, usually it makes you a better person if you're seen by people close to you. Because it's one thing being seen by the world. I can put this video out and you guys see me for me and you appreciate this video. But if people around me don't see me, it becomes harder for me to receive being seen from external forces. I don't know if you guys get it, but yeah, that has been my experience. I've noticed that when people see me that are close to my heart, or when people close to my heart see my work or see my results, I'm actually elevated. Or people that I heavily look up to, when they see me, it actually, it does something internally, So yeah, it's important to be seen and it's important to see others. And how do you see a person for who they are? It is when they are able to be vulnerable with you and you still see them. It is when you are able to be vulnerable with them and they still see you. It's not a thing of that you dress yourself in this facade whereby you're like, I'm this perfect human being, or I'm this type of human being, and being seen, you see it. Being seen is genuine when you've laid yourself, when you've laid yourself and opened yourself up, but a person is still saying, I see you. You're a good person. I see you. You are kind. I see you. I love you. I see you. You're doing well. I see your progress. So yeah, it's actually being seen is very important for our development and growth. And I know that some people may have a contrary opinion to say, whether people see me or not, I don't care. But that's the thing. Yes, not being seen can work for you, but trust me, when people around you, or even you as that person, when you see other people, it actually helps them do better. It actually it boosts their mood. It makes them better people, basically, right? So, and then oh yeah, this is one of the quotes that I love. She also loves it. She says she kept on. So, okay, she had this interview, right, with Oprah Winfrey, and then she went to the interview. One of the people that she really loved the most was Maya Angelou, and she didn't know that Maya Angelou was going to be there, right? So, and that's another thing. It's important that you show up, guys. When you're called for meetings, called for collaborations, and all of those things, just show up, because you don't know what the greater blessing is on the other side, right? So then what she says is she went for the interview with Oprah Winfrey and everything like that, right? When she gets there, she does the interview and everything, only to get to behind the scenes and meet Maya Angelou seated there. And Maya Angelou told her that she's great. This is what Maya Angelou said. She kept holding my hand and placed her other hand on top of mine. You are doing important work. You are doing important work. Keep doing it. Keep talking about your work. Don't stop, and don't let anyone get in your way. Guys, imagine you hear these powerful words from somebody that you look up to, from somebody that has actually shaped up the person that you are. And you were not even planning to meet this person in person. You know, it was a thing of you're going to attend to whatever that you're attending to, and by God's grace you met this person, right? And then she goes on to say, she then told her, sometimes when I teach, I turn the lights out and play for the class on the old cassette tape I have of her recordings of her poem, Our Grandmothers. I told her how I would sometimes just replay the line, I shall not be moved. She held my hands even tighter, looked right into my eyes, and with a slow, deep voice sang, like a tree planted by the river, I shall not be moved. And here's the other thing, guys. I love reading I love reading work written by really amazing people like Brene Brown, because also it helps you learn about other heroes, you know, other people that they look up to, you know, because like I said, I didn't know Brene Brown, but because my sister-in-law knew her, and then I indulged, and then also I got to learn a lot about Maya Angelou, you know, and I got to learn more about her other work. So yeah, absolutely love it, you know. Do not be moved, guys. Yeah. And then there's a lot in this book, guys. It's really power packed. I'm trying not to give it all away. So now on chapter 2, she talks about the quest to belonging, and this is one of the most important chapters. Like literally, this is one of the most important chapters. Thoroughly loved it. Yes. Here's the thing, right? So the quest to belonging, right? So I don't know what belonging means to you, but belonging is very subjective. Some people think belonging is having the same things with people around you. Some people think belonging is being like the same person. But according to Brene Brown, belonging is being comfortable in your difference. I don't know if that makes sense to you, but it's being comfortable in your difference, in that you are you, and that's your power, and nobody can be like you. A lot of the people think belonging has to be, means I have to be like so and so for me to win. And that's the thing, when you actually try so hard to be like the next person, you're actually squashing yourself, you're actually limiting yourself, you're putting yourself in a box, you're actually not belonging, you're actually setting yourself afar from you and from everybody else. Because one thing about how God created us, he created us the same way but different. Also, we've got different journeys, different paths, right? And it's so sad how sometimes we deprive people of genuinely experiencing us because we want to be like them. Sometimes another person's biggest blessing is them experiencing who you are, but they would never experience that because you're trying so hard to be like them. You're trying so hard to be them, and they miss the lesson. And also you miss your biggest blessing because you're trying so hard to walk on somebody else's path, you know. So yeah, guys, don't try, learn from people, you know, use their methods, use their principles and all of that, but don't try so hard to be them. Actually, you can be like them, because like them does not mean the same, right? Do not try to be them. Do not try to be something that you're not. Try by all means that in your existence, you are actually nothing but true to yourself. You are actually nothing but yourself. There's something that I think Maya Angelou said when she was speaking about belonging, right? It was one of the things that actually upset Brene Brown somewhere, because she was very upset at Maya because she had consumed so much of Maya's content, and then she came along, I think it was a poem, if I'm not mistaken, or something along those lines, whereby Maya Angelou said, you don't belong but to yourself. You don't belong anywhere but to yourself, right? And I'm paraphrasing it, by the way, guys. Yeah, it was something along those lines. So, and then she was upset. And then when I thought of it and processed it, actually, this is very true. You don't belong anywhere in the world but to yourself, because everything starts with self. So if you don't acknowledge and accept who you are, then you have no belonging. If you're not true to yourself, if you're not being yourself, that's the power. The power, you being yourself, because you're the only person that belongs to you. If there's anything, I always say the biggest thing that God has ever trusted me with is being myself, being me. The fact that God created me and saw it worthy to actually give me to me, that's my biggest power. That is what belonging means. Belonging to self, understanding that you're flawed, understanding that you're not going to be like XYZ, understanding that you've got your own abilities, your own talents that may be similar to the next person, but they're not like yours. Understanding that you could have the greatest voice, you could speak better than so and so, but so and so can actually get bigger numbers. You know, understanding those things, that you belong anywhere but yourself. You know, once you understand that, it makes things very much easier. And then also she talks about, I think this is one of my favorite parts, where she talks about, in order for us to truly belong, right, it also stems also from trusting others. And also, in order for us to be vulnerable, we can only be vulnerable with people that we trust, right, which is trusting others, you know. And then she speaks of how you can trust others, how you can learn how to trust others, and how you can actually belong to yourself, and how you can enable and create a space where others belong to themselves, or where others belong, right? And obviously the title of the book is Braving the Wilderness. So this part of the book is called Trusting Others, and then Braving the Wilderness as an acronym, right? And then it says boundaries, right? Boundaries. You respect my boundaries, and when you're not clear about what's okay and not okay, you ask. You're willing to say no, right? Here's the thing, guys. People cannot respect boundaries they don't know. That's the thing. If people don't know your boundaries, they bound to not respect them, and you can't be mad or upset about that, because I can't respect something that I don't know. So it's important that you communicate your boundaries, right? And also, if you're on the other end as a person that's receiving the boundary being communicated, if you don't understand the boundary, or if you're not clear on what a person is saying, don't invalidate a person's boundary, right? Ask them, get an understanding to say, if you're saying I shouldn't call you at 10, but I really miss you at 10, then I'm able to say, hey, listen, you can't call me at 10 because I sleep at 9. If you call me at 10, it means you're going to disrupt my sleep. Or if you call me at 10, you might not even go through because my phone is on sleep mode. You see, there's communication, there's an understanding, right? And also, once people are able to understand one another and able to place those boundaries, and when they trust one another, they're able to say no. I've had occasions whereby somebody that you think they're going to say yes to something that you're saying, they say no. You know, sometimes you're upset, sometimes you're okay. But as I grow, I learned that people saying no doesn't mean that they love you any less. You know, it doesn't mean that they don't care about you, but sometimes they just don't have capacity, and that's absolutely okay. And if you've got a good relationship with the person, and if you've got a genuine connection with the person, a person shouldn't be afraid to say no. I shouldn't be afraid to say I can't come. You know, because, oh my God, the friendship is going to end. If that's the case, then there's a problem with that friendship. I shouldn't be afraid to actually place my boundaries, voice myself out, you know? And then secondly, reliability, guys. It's important that you're a reliable person. If you're going to build and establish a good relationship with other people, you really need to be reliable. This is what it means. You do what you say you will do. This means staying aware of your competences and limitations so that you don't compromise and are able to deliver on commitments and balance competing priorities, right? When you're a reliable person, you do what you will say you will do. But usually we are seen as not reliable people because we are not honest about our competences and our abilities to do certain things and usually how this how you end up being an unreliable person, it's usually because you haven't truly and honestly communicated your priorities. I'll make an example, right? Let's say you've got two parents, right? Both parents, and they're separated. Then you call them, clashing commitments, right? You call them and you say, I'm going to see you guys tomorrow. But you don't say the time, right? If you're a reliable person and an honest person and a person that's able to communicate, you wake up in the morning, you call your mom, hi ma, can I see you at 12 because in the morning I'm seeing dad? Or even if you don't say that, you say in the morning I've got commitments. Or you call your dad, hey dad, can I see ma first thing in the morning and then I'll come see you. But what we usually do is we book ourselves like, okay guys, I'm coming at 2. You tell 2 people, but then now you realize, okay, this is both important. What am I going to do? Then you end up missing both, or you end up being late at the other, or because of anxiety and stresses, you end up not showing up as your best version. Then you just mess up the whole thing. But had you communicated effectively, or had you actually weighed out your priorities to say, okay, fine, I can go to the gym at 5 in the morning and then I can be at the office at 8 o'clock. But I can't schedule myself for the gym at 8 o'clock, knowing very well that at 8 o'clock I need to be at the office, or I promise that I'll assist my supervisor or manager with something, you know? So it's important that you, when you say something, think about it first. Even the word of God, I think it's in the book of, is it, oh my God, why am I forgetting this? It's in the book of Ecclesiastes, right? It says God despises people that don't keep their word. So if you say you will buy so and so a packet of chips, do it, because it actually impacts you as a person. We don't realize that it's the smallest things that impact our existence, actually, right? And then secondly, accountability. You own your mistakes, apologize, and make amends. Guys, here's the thing. One thing about me, very forgiving. I appreciate people that apologize, right? But it annoys me so much. It makes me so livid when a person is apologizing only for them to do the same thing. If you apologize and you do the same thing 5 times, it means you don't understand why you're apologizing. You know, so it's always important that even before you dish out an apology, you actually sit down and think it through and say, hey, listen, you're saying you're upset, right? Please make me understand what part is upsetting about what I did. And you're not saying that out of a cocky place or a very petty place. You're saying that to understand, so that even when you apologize, you understand that you're not going to do this again, guys. Like this thing of just dishing out apologies because when now you want to just calm things down. Even I think there's something that Dibelo posted, an interview by Viola Davis. An interview by Viola Davis where she was explaining, I think she was actually with Oprah. It's an interview with Oprah where she was explaining that some people just apologize so that they don't get cancelled. And this is so true, guys. I have a serious problem with this. I've experienced a lot of people that apologize because they don't want to get cancelled. You apologize not because you acknowledge that what you did is wrong, or because you understand what you did is wrong. You apologize because, oh my God, if I don't say sorry to Yvonne right now, I'm not going to get the benefits of being her friend, or I'm not going to get the benefits of actually knowing her, you know. So it's important that you get rid of that mentality of apologizing because you're afraid of being cancelled. It's just not cool. Say sorry because you meant it. Say sorry because you're going to change, you know. Don't say sorry because you're afraid to be cancelled. It doesn't make sense. And then the fourth one is vault. I think my girls are gonna love this one. You don't share information or experiences that are not yours to share. I need to know that my confidences are kept and that you are not sharing with me any information about other people that is confidential. Guys, you know, I don't want to say when I was younger, but a couple of years ago, I never really used to understand why. Like I love celebrating, right? I love it when like my people win. I want to share it. I want to put it out there, right? But most of my friends not most. Some of my friends are very private people. They would share like which is one of the underrated blessings, guys. People trusting you with their very sensitive things. It's an underrated blessing. Like wow. So my friends always share stuff with me and all of that, right? And sometimes they will share their milestones and their achievements, and then they will say, please do not post. And sometimes I'll be upset. I wouldn't understand. Why are we not posting? Why are we keeping it a secret? Isn't everyone supposed to know that you're doing well? But vote, guys, vote. Vote is the word. Now I know the word for it. Vote is the word. You are not supposed to share information that is not yours to share. If I tell you that I got a job, it's not yours to share or post, unless if I give permission. It's not yours to tell the next person. You know, I should be confident that I can tell you something and you will keep it to yourself until I'm ready to share it with the world. Because also sometimes people share things with you because you're the only person they are comfortable sharing stuff with. Then when you make it your mandate to be the one releasing people's news, then it becomes very tricky. I think it's one of the things that I'm learning as I grow, that, you know what, sometimes people tell us things and we're not supposed to share with other people, no matter how bad you want to share, guys. No matter who's your best friend, whatever, it's important that you understand that if I tell you something, sometimes it's just for you and I. And it is because you're the only person I'm trusting. And whenever I'm ready to put it out there, I'll put it out there. Don't share business that's not yours. Don't do it. Do not do it. Don't do it. And then integrity. You choose courage over comfort. You choose what is right over what is fun, fast, or easy. And you choose to practice values rather than simple simply professing them. And also, this is another era we're living in. We're living in an era whereby people oftenly actually say a lot of things, but they don't do them. We love quick fast money, we love quick fast things. I always laugh, like on TikTok, as I share my weight loss journey. Like I remember initially I started trying to lose weight, I think 2020, but I wasn't consistent. I would actually gain more weight and all of that, and then eventually last year in 2022 I got my groove. I became consistent, I became disciplined. And a lot of people on TikTok, I've realized, even generally, would ask me, what did you do, what is the secret? And I would say it's the smallest changes, it's the consistencies, it's your everyday habits. And people get disappointed, and in my head I'm like, did you expect me to say I took a magic pill? No, I didn't take a magic pill. I actually put in the work. So yeah, she talks about how it's very important to be a human being of integrity, be a man of integrity, be that person who chooses to be courageous over comfortable, be that person who chooses to do the right thing even though it takes longer. I remember I was watching one of Bumi's videos, and Brene, I think it is Our Love Journey. They were talking about how they've never bribed, like a police officer, when you're driving on the road, and they always talk about how they would rather go to jail, that type of integrity. I laughed. I'm like, oh guys, I'll be seeing jail, I'd rather bribe. But when you think about it, it's the smallest of things that actually make a difference. It's a small decisions, small choices, small actions that you actually do that actually shape the human being that you become, right? And then she says non-judgment. I can ask for what I need, and you can ask for what you need. We can talk about how we feel without judgment. This is also one of the things that I'm blessed with. I've got people that I know I can say how I genuinely feel without feeling judgment. And I also create that very same space. Because in as much as we want these things, guys, also we need to be able to create that space for other people. We need to be able to, sorry guys. We need to be able to create that space for other people. We need to be able to create a space whereby people are able to confide in us and we're not judging them. We're also able to confide in them and they're not judging us. And another thing that I learned is that you need to be a person who's able to listen to something without judgment, And then generosity. You can extend the most generous interpretation possible to the intentions, words, and affection and actions of others. Here's another thing I learned. I always used to think generosity means just giving things, tangible things. But generosity also means me being able to listen to you without judging you, me being able to affirm you, me being able to actually say you're amazing, you're beautiful. That's generosity. That's you giving compliments. Generosity has a lot to do with giving, but it doesn't have to be tangible. You can be giving your time. That's generosity. You can be giving an ear to listen. You can be giving a perspective. Yeah. And then also I love, guys, I don't want to take out everything, so and then yeah, fear of criticism, fear of conflict. Oh yeah, and then also I saw this from Will Smith's book, and then she talks about how but if I had to identify one core variable that drives and magnifies our compulsion to sort ourselves into factions while at the same time cutting ourselves off from real connection with other people, my answer would be fear. Fear of vulnerability, fear of getting hurt, fear of the pain of disconnection, fear of criticism or failure, fear of conflict, fear of not measuring up, just fear in its nature. Guys, it's important that you understand that if you allow fear to control you, you're going to miss out on the truest connection, truest experiences in life. If you are afraid or fearful, that's the reason why you should do it. That's the reason why you should go for it extra. If you are afraid, actually think about the fact that, okay, I feel afraid, let me rather do it now. Yeah, she talks about how it's important that we shouldn't let our fear control us. You shouldn't be in fear of things. I think a friend of mine had this conversation where we were talking about we shouldn't be afraid to have a fight. We shouldn't be afraid to have an argument. We shouldn't be afraid to disagree, because if my mom always says, if a friendship or a relationship is ended because of a disagreement, there was never a relationship. There was never anything. So it's important that you allow yourself to try, always be willing to try, always be willing to try things out, reconnect. I know things have hurt you. I know you've lost things. I know you've been scammed and all of these things, but do not allow fear to control you, because fear is one of our greatest enemies. Even Will Smith speaks of it, how many other times he lost out on certain opportunities because of fear. So do not let fear control you. I was laughing this morning. I went to the gym, and then I was explaining to this guy at the gym who was, I was holding my phone. I was like, oh, that's a beautiful phone. And then I was like, oh, it's actually brand new. Maybe that's why it really looks nice, right? And then he's like to me, oh, what happened to your phone? Then I told him how my phone got stolen when I was trying to help somebody out. And then he's like, can I see the phone? Then I gave it to him. Then he's like, oh my God, you don't learn. You were telling me that you got marked because you're trying to help somebody else. What happens right now if I decide to run off with your phone? What are you going to do? Then I realized something. I'm not afraid to be kind. Yes, I'm not going to be gullible. Yes, I'm not going to put myself in positions where, where I'm like where it's dangerous, whatever the case may be. But I realize, in as much as that happened to me, somebody stole my phone and all of that, but I'm not afraid to have conversations with people now because, oh my God, my phone got stolen. I'm not afraid to give information because, oh my God, somebody last time I gave them information, they used it incorrectly, So do not let fear stand in the way of you and your dreams, or of meeting your better self, or of connecting with other people, basically. Don't allow fear to control you. And then also she talks about how it's important to have tough conversations. Like I said, if you find yourself so afraid to disagree with somebody, or so afraid to have conflict with somebody that is very close to your heart, then there's a problem with that relationship. You need to evaluate what the issue is, because you shouldn't be afraid to have conflict. You shouldn't be afraid to have disagreements. You shouldn't be afraid to have tough conversations. You should be able to have conversations whereby you call each other out. You should be able to have real tough conversations. I remember, I'll make an example with one of my friends. Sometimes, not even sometimes, half the time I'm convinced Ntuzu is my best friend, but she has many best friends. That's where the danger is. She's all of us is our best friends. That's where the danger is. I mean, I feel like, is there anything greater than best friend? I think maybe sister. Yeah. So I see her as a sister. I remember we've known each other for like, I think 5 years. We've known each other from 2018. And then our relationship has progressively actually become a very good relationship. Like, we've connected on deeper levels, right? And then in the 5 years I've known her, we've had I think 2 disagreements or 3 altercations whereby, like, it's back and forth. This one time, I don't want to say disagreements. We've had, like, I think about 3 or 4 tough conversations. I remember this one time, there's this joke we used to make, like the age joke thing, right? And then I remember I used to do it a lot. And then I remember this one time she said to me, she's like, friend, have you realized how you make this joke even in places that you're not supposed to make it? And then I was like, oh my God, friend, I'm sorry, I didn't realize, And then she started taking me to parts, like, you remember when we sitting with so and so, you made this joke. I don't have a problem with this joke, but sometimes it's an inside joke. It's for you and I, or you and our really close friends, And we spoke it out, And then this one time we had like an altercation. Okay, it wasn't an altercation. This one was a silent, tough conversation, whereby I went to, if you watch my vlogs, I went to Free State, but I ended up getting stuck. I felt like it was a fault, and then I said what I said. She said what she said. I felt like she was not doing what she needed to do. And then at some point I thought that was going to crash our relationship, but we spoke it out. She apologized, I apologized, and then we kept it moving. And yeah, you realize that tough conversations actually bring you closer. That's basically it. I've realized that even Balisa and I have had this tough conversation. Like, we literally broke our friendship, and then we had to talk it out. I remember I was so mad that so it was going to be her birthday. I was so mad that I was like, so I sent her money. Then I was like, I really wanted to get you a gift, but because of this that happened, I just wasn't in the mood anymore. And then she was like to me, well, I'm gonna send you back your money. you are gonna go get me a gift. And then I was like, no, you're not gonna do that. Then she's like, yeah, I'm gonna do that, because that's not how life works or how relationships work. You don't get mad and think, oh my god, I'm throwing everything out. Yes, you get mad and all of that, but don't let things that don't connect. Now, yes, you upset at me, but it's my birthday, for crying out loud. Yes, you had planned to buy me a gift. Why are you canceling the gift? Can't you buy the gift? Give me the gift, sit me over lunch and say, I don't like what you did, So it's important to have tough conversations. And I've realized every time I have tough conversations with people that I love, after that, we become closer, we connect more, And then also she talks about how it is very, very important, it's important to have genuine connections with people, because she talks about how nowadays, we live in a generation, or rather in an era, we live in an era whereby many people are not friends because they're genuinely friends, but many people are friends because they've got a common enemy, because they've got a common hate and all of that. And then she explained that you need to be careful of that, because that is not friendship. Friendship is being able to be vulnerable with the person, being able to invest your time and your energy in a relationship. And I'm even calling you guys out, if the only thing that is in your friendship is sitting down and discussing things you hate, there's a problem with that friendship. If the only thing you guys do is sit and discuss people and gossip about people, there's a problem with that friendship. There's a very, very big problem with that friendship. You need to evaluate it. If you never have moments of vulnerability, if you can't call in and say, hey, listen, I'm hungry, can you please help? There's a problem. I'm not saying, like I said, I'm not saying be vulnerable with every Tina and Tom and Abigail and all of those things, but all I'm saying is your friendship must be rooted in something beyond having the same things you dislike, beyond having the same people you like or the same people you hate. If you are in a friendship, and I'm warning you guys, if you're in a friendship whereby that friendship is built on common enemy, just know you are next in line. You are going to be the next common enemy. When they find somebody else who hates you enough, and somebody else who dislikes certain things they also dislike about you, they're going to team up with that person and they're going to leave you behind. It becomes a circle and circle. You can't say you're a person that has friendships or relationships, and those relationships are based on the fact that, oh no, we both hate Nomsa, or we both hate Mbali. It doesn't work. It doesn't make sense, because at the end of the day, you might be the person that ends up being hated in the near future. So yeah, destroy that friendship, end it. If you guys, your friendship is based on common enemy, end it. Your friendship, like just end it, finish it up. And then also, guys, she talks about how it's important to go further. It's important not to be afraid. Put yourself out there. Don't leave anything on the floor. Like, just, you know what? Just pour yourself out there. Yes, there's going to be bumps. Yes, there's going to be mistakes. And here's another thing. Not everyone is going to like you. Not everyone is going to understand you. Not everyone is going to walk your walk, or whatever the case may be. But put yourself out there. Like, just pour yourself to the world. Allow the world to experience your full you. And also give yourself a chance to experience the whole world for what it truly is. Or even not just the whole world, people, restaurants, places. And also she talks a lot about being deliberate and intentional and fully present in circumstances. She talks about how it's important to not just always be on the phone or always be on social media. Be present where you are, and I thought to myself, many other times we say we're going to a networking conference, or many other times we're saying we're going to an event, and half the time you're on your phone. But there's a person sitting next to you. There's a person across you. There's a person behind you. Why not talk to that person? Why not say, hi, my name is Yvonne? Why not ask something? Why not tell them something? Teach them something? Yeah, guys, it's very important that we connect with people genuinely, because you never know what a person knows. What if, like right now, let's say, you're seated in a taxi or you're at an event and then you're constantly on your phone. What if you miss your biggest opportunity because you are focused on people on social media that are not even with you in that present moment? So when you go to events, when you're doing your things, be fully present. Whether you're at your child's birthday party, yes, take photos, yes, update us, whatever that you do. But sometimes it's important that you fully immerse yourself in the moment, fully, like fully experience where you are or what you are doing. You know, there's one thing that Will Smith talks about is laying your life brick by brick, right? And I think one of the books that I read, Green Light, it talks about how it's important that you don't focus on the destination, focus on where you are. And then Will Smith says, take every brick. This he learned from his dad. Every brick, it's not about what you're building, it's about each brick. So you take it layer by layer. And for you to be so focused on each brick and the importance of each brick, you need to be fully present. You need to be fully deliberate. You need to be in that moment, you know? So yeah, guys, it's very, very, very important that you're intentional and you're deliberate and you understand that it's important to connect with other human beings. We were created to connect with one another. I'm just trying to see if I can see another thing. And yeah, guys, you don't have to fit in. She also talks about how you don't have to fit into culture. You can just be who you want to be. If you try so hard to fit into culture, you will miss opportunities. You'll miss very, 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 very big opportunities. And just to, okay, I'm concluding. So mainly this book is about vulnerability, relationship, connecting, and belonging. And also remember, you belong to self. Nowhere else but yourself. That's the only place where you truly belong. Because other places or other things, they will have a sense of discomfort because they are not you. So the only part or the only place where you truly belong is yourself. And then I just want to read this verbatim. She says, we've simply started hanging out with people who hate the same people we do. That's not connection. Like I said earlier, that's not connection. That's you are either with us or against us. That's common enemy intimacy. Imagine wasting your time on common enemy intimacy. Why do that to yourself? If you've got the guys, we've got the luxury to connect with people genuinely. Why would you want to waste your time, your time? You know, life has become really short. Why would you want to waste your time on common enemy intimacy when you might end up being an enemy as well? Like, it doesn't make sense. I don't really know you, nor am I invested in our relationship. But I do like that we hate the same people and have contempt for the same ideas. Don't befriend people because you hate the same people. Don't befriend people because they think like you. I think one of my friends once said, we were having a conversation, and he once said, you know how I select friends? I select friends because not because we think the same way, right? But because of core values. You know, there should be something that is valuable that we both believe in. Like, for instance, we love family, we believe in family, we believe in the art of being a good person, we are givers, we are generous, you know, we are not destructive citizens of society, you know, those type of core values, guys. You know, some people tell you that I prefer having friends that are spiritually rooted and all of these things, but the center of your friendship can be, you hate Yvonne. Yvonne is gonna die, then what's gonna happen? If Yvonne is dead, or Yvonne has elevated, or you don't have access to Yvonne's life, what's going to happen? Your friendship is going to die as well. Is that what you want to do with your life? I mean, you know. Anyway, guys, get yourself a copy. This is so beautiful. If you can't afford a copy now, I'd say go and binge on Brene Brown's content on YouTube, everywhere. Like, she's such an amazing human being. I really love her work. Like, literally, I've been binging on her stuff and absolutely love it. I hope you guys enjoyed this review. I know it's pretty long, but if you're gonna read books like this, it's almost hard or impossible to just like wrap it in a 10 minutes video. So I hope you guys thoroughly enjoyed it. And if you made it to this moment or this point, tell me, what are you currently reading and what's your current favorite book? Love you all. Stop recording.